our pleasure and privilege now to welcome in former BYU basketball standout and a second-round NBA draft pick. Big man Trent Plaisted is back on BYUSN. Trent, how are you this morning?
I'm doing great, guys. Just trying to break up the day, talking to my good folks at BYU Sports Nation. So I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Anytime we can interrupt your normal work day for things that are related to BYU is a good day for us. So we appreciate you spending some time with us, Trent.
Me as well, right? Just hope none of my bosses see me on TV. So we'll see how this goes.
Trent, what are you doing in there? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Just talking about the most recent four-star signee that BYU has brought in, Elijah Crawford, and BYU needed some help, some depth at the point guard position to bolster what Dallin Hall is going to do. What do you think about BYU's newest signee, Elijah Crawford, and what Kevin Young is building?
Well, it's just been a wild month in general, right? So, Mark Pope leaves, Kevin Young comes in. I thought, the whole roster was going to be gone, right? Kevin Young did an amazing job of keeping key guys, and now he's got 2 4-star commits. So, it's been an interesting month, and he's hit all the right notes. So, the most recent addition with Elijah is incredible. It's not every day BYU gets 4-star guys, and so they've got 2 of them now, and maybe they'll get more. We'll see. But it's a pretty amazing pickup for them, and I just hope he comes in, has a big impact, and is happy. That's the most important thing for any players. They play and they're happy.
The only bad news with this signing for you specifically is that his composite score is 7th highest in BYU history on 24/7 Sports, bumping you to 8th. But Trent, you're still top 10, okay?
I had a composite score one day. I didn't even know what my composite score was. So I'm not offended at all. So good for him. I'm glad he bumped me to number 8. I'm very, very happy about that.
You're number 8 now, and Brody Kozlowski's 4, Elijah Crawford's 7. Keba Keita is a really nice pickup out of the transfer portal from Utah. You keep Dallin, Hall, and Richie Saunders. Kevin Young and this staff have done tremendous work, and they still have 4 scholarships to hand out, Trent.
Yeah, and 2 assistant coaches. So they're doing amazing things with a skeleton crew. So 4 scholarships to go. I hope they go more towards the experience route personally. But also, the best talent you're going to get is from high school, but experience is huge dividends. So we'll see what they do. I imagine they're going to hit the transfer portal for at least 2 or 3 guys, maybe one more high school guy if I was them, but we'll see how it goes.
Trent Plaisted is with us on BYU Sports Nation. We just went through the list of all the guys that Kevin Young has brought in thus far, including Chris Burgess and Brandon Dunson as assistants, the 2 high school signees in Brody Kozlowski and Elijah Crawford. You get experience that you were talking about with Keba Keita, who comes over from Utah, but then you maintain those core, those key, those principal guys in Dallin Hall and Richie Saunders. So of all the names I just presented, Trent, which do you feel is the most important acquisition or person to keep, holdover, if you will, that Kevin Young has pulled off thus far?
Oh, for me, it's actually a pretty easy one. I think it's Dallin Hall. I think there's other players that you just mentioned that have more upside than Dallin Hall. Not that Dallin Hall's a great player. He's wonderful, but you guys like the shiny object, Brody Kozlowski, Elijah, those are 4-star guys. And I actually think Dallin was a 4-star guy, if I'm not mistaken, coming out of high school. But he ran the show last year. He's been in the Big 12. He's a seasoned veteran. You know what I mean? So I think he's the most important returner for them, just because I think he brings continuity to a team that really, really needs it with the new staff. And the Big 12 is widely considered to be the best league in college sports from a basketball perspective. And so you have to have guys that have that experience. And to bring him back at that point guard spot is by far the biggest pickup he's had so far.
Let's talk about Jackson Robinson's similarities in your situation in that you left with eligibility, you were drafted in the 2nd round, you had an amazing pro career overseas. Jackson Robinson may bounce from BYU and go to the 2nd round or come back. A lot of rumors that he may go to Kentucky. What was that decision like for you of trying to figure out, should I enter the draft even though I'm probably a 2nd round guy?
Well, it's a way different thing for Jackson than it was for me, because Jackson could get paid. You know what I mean? So if Jackson comes back, whether he goes to BYU or Kentucky, there's a decent chance he might get paid more going to Kentucky than he would as a league minimum guy in the NBA his first year. So So I think that's a whole different loaded ball game for him than me. And the other thing is I was there for 3 years. Jackson's an older guy, right? Like I was 20 when I left. He because of COVID, like he should be out of eligibility, but he's got 1 more year. So like it's a little bit of a different ball game. And I think the decision for him is he can make a good living coming back to college, but can he strike while the iron's hot? Is his draft stock he feels like the highest is now to give him the best chance to stick in the NBA long term? I don't know that. There was a point this year, guys, where you guys had me commentate a game with Jeremy, and Jackson was like considered a first-round guy. So like, it's a matter of if he feels like he can stick in the NBA and last for a few years, because then he's going to make more money in the NBA than he would staying. But it would be a pretty enticing thing to come back to BYU, Kentucky, or wherever he wants to go. I've heard it's Kentucky or Kansas, and I bet you he makes just as much there as he would as a league minimum guy in the NBA or close to it.
Trent Plaisted on BYU Sports Nation. Given what you went through in your own draft experience, and a great point by you, NIL was not a thing, so take it for what it's worth. But if you had a conversation with Jackson right now, what would be the first piece of advice you would offer him, given your experiences?
Just given my experience, when I came out of college, I was pretty convinced as a young kid that like I had to do everything well, right? Like I remember being at BYU and feeling like I needed to work on my jump shot and stuff like that. And I did, but like the NBA was a specialist league. So my advice to him is don't do what you do well. And for him, he's going to be a 3-and-D guy. That's what his situation is going to be in the NBA, right? Like for me in the NBA, like at BYU, I scored a lot of points, but I was never going to be a scorer in the NBA. You know what I was going to be? I was going to be a rim runner and defensive rebounder, right? That's what I was going to be. So I didn't need to worry about trying to go and score 20 points in the draft combine or something like that, because that was never going to be my role. And so for him, as he goes through the process, he needs to focus on hitting open shots and playing good defense, not worried about all the other stuff that's really not going to be his role when he gets to the NBA.
That would have changed things for you quite a bit, which we talked about when you were in here. BYU still has, as mentioned, 4 scholarships and 3 assistants to hire. There's still stuff to do. Yet, what are your expectations at this point, albeit early, for next season for BYU men's basketball?
Oh, gosh, that's a tough question to ask a former player who's trying to help out the current staff. So here's the deal from my perspective. Number one, last year was incredible for BYU basketball. And I think everybody could recognize that. I think, had you asked me at the beginning of the year, what was the expectation for that season? Like, let's be honest about what it was. Nobody in their right mind thought BYU was going to have the year that they had last year. And to be quite frank, I believe they overachieved last year in the Big 12.
No question.
And so heading into this year, I feel like what everybody wants to be like, oh, we had such a great year last year, and this year we're going to improve upon it. And I hope that's true, but I don't expect that to happen. You've got a new staff, a new coach who's a great coach with a great pedigree, but he's never coached in college before, a new roster, right? Getting the feel for BYU. So I would temper the expectations a little bit and let them get their feet underneath of them. But I think they could definitely compete. You know what I mean? I think they could be a tournament team with the roster they have. But I don't want anybody to get too far left field, like, oh, we're going to go win the Big 12. I think it's possible, not plausible. But I'm hoping that they are a tournament team next year, and they are, in the Big 12, which is, I guess, whatever the Big 14 or how many
16 next year,
freaking leave and come and whatever else. I'm hoping they finish in like the 6 to 8 range and are a solid tournament team.
Hey, be a top half team in a 16-team conference, and there's a real argument that even with Texas and Oklahoma leaving for the SEC, the Big 12 is actually going to be tougher with Arizona and Arizona State and Colorado and Utah coming over. So it is pretty wild that you can lose 2 name brands like that, but you bring in the 4 corner schools, which include Arizona. And my gosh, Trent, like looking at early preseason projections, 4 of the top 5 teams in America in some polls are Big 12 teams. I mean, that is crazy for Kevin Young to encounter that in his first year. So let's say BYU does finish 8th place and they're just inside that top half. You clearly feel like that would be good enough, yes?
Yes. I mean, I do. I mean, I hope people don't like get mad at me for that, but like, I think Kevin Young wants to build something great, and obviously that they've got returning experience and they've got 4 more scholarships to fill out. And those 4 people are going to be crucial to the success they have next year. They got a great foundation, but they need more, right? Especially in a league like the Big 12. So if they finish in the top half of the league next year, I think that's a great win for Kevin Young in his first year, right? I think that's amazing. Even if they finish around 9 or 10, I don't think that's like the end of the world. Now, if they finish at the bottom, I think people have a right to be upset, but that's just the way life goes. But I would say like that top 8 would be a good win for the BYU team next year.
Kevin Young said in his press conference he wants BYU to be the best place for young men to develop and prepare for the NBA. As the second to last guy to be drafted from BYU, what will it take for BYU to actually start to produce more NBA players?
Oh, gosh. Like, let me put it this way, guys. You don't get to be an NBA player just because of development, right? That's a huge component to it. I don't want to diminish that, but guys, I'm 6'11". When I was in college, I jumped really high and ran really fast. That's why I got drafted to the NBA, is because of my measurables, right? Like, there are guys that are great college players that will never be NBA players just because they don't have the natural talent to do so. So the biggest thing that you could possibly do to make BYU a pipeline for the NBA is, yes, the development of players, but also making sure you get players into BYU that have legit NBA talent and measurables, like intangibles from a physical perspective. And, you know, you've seen that a little bit. He's got a couple of 4-star recruits that, like, those are the type of guys that need to come into BYU that he could develop into NBA players, right? And that's not to knock guys, like, because there are guys that come in that are lower ranked guys that just have the measurables, that are really athletic guys. So that's the biggest thing to me, is he needs to recruit the right guys that he could mold, that have the potential to even make it there. Because there are guys that are good players that just don't have that athletic ability, that will never probably be drafted to the NBA.
Trent, one more question before we let you go and get back to your, actual workplace. The BYU bigs, well, they're limited at this point, and it's Foose and Keita in large part. So how would you assess the status of the front court? Does BYU need another starter potential there coming through the portal, or do they just need depth? Like, do you feel like Foose and Keita are good enough to lead the charge up front?
How do I say this without diminishing the guys? Foose is amazing, and Keita's, I think he's a great addition. He's an energy guy. He's a guy that's going to start a game, but like from what I know, he'll foul out if you give him more than 20 minutes a game, right? So like Foose obviously has a lot of experience starting, and I think he's a starting level big. What they need is somebody that can shoot the basketball from the outside in today's game. And I know that's what Kozlowski is, but he's also a freshman. So they need that kind of combo inside-outside guy that what Waterman was last year. I'm hoping they have something similar, but maybe just a bit more physical, that could complement a Foose, right? And they could kind of interchange what those matchups are, because they complement each other well. Foose could be a 4 or a 5. I don't think he's a stretch 4, but he could play the 4 or maybe guard the 4 when needed. But ideally, you've got that other guy who's a kind of an inside-outside guy, a guy that can shoot threes and guard inside as well. And that's what they need, right? Khalifa kind of played that role for him last year. Like, Khalifa was not going and banging inside, but he was passing the ball really well, and he was shooting threes. Waterman was that guy. They need those guys that can stretch the floor. That's just the way basketball is in this day and age.
Trent, great stuff. We appreciate the time, man. Always good to catch up with you, and let's hang out again soon.
You got it, guys. Thanks for having me, and good luck to the Cougs, and good luck to you guys. I hope to talk again soon.
Let's go.